This is Postwar Settlements in the Cold War by Jake, Sophia, Abigail, Jaden, and Samantha.
Hi, I'm Sophia. I'll be talking about post-war effects. To start off, there were celebrations in the streets of the Allied powers, but there was also a lot of healing that needed to be placed. This was due to the fact that, because of the war, 60 million people died worldwide. The mainly people that died were part of the Soviet Union with 20 million people, but every nation that had taken part of the war had witnessed death of many of their people from their country. After the war, many Germans had begun to flee across the Elbe River to territories soon to be claimed by Great Britain and the U.S. in hopes for a better life and safety by trying to avoid the Soviets that had taken over their land. With this, due to population shift many refugees had caused, there were many political transformations in Europe. And from my pictures, the top two represent how the Soviet Union taking over the area surrounding Berlin caused Germans to flee across the Elbe River, and that the one on the bottom represents the lives that were killed during World War II.
I'm Abby. I'm going to be talking about the origins of the Cold War. As World War II ended, the tensions between the Allied powers rose, mostly between the United States and the Soviet Union. This sparked the beginning of a long and intense conflict between them called the Cold War, which is represented by the bottom picture. This was most likely due to their ideological differences, where the United States seeked to spread democratic capitalism while the Soviet Union upheld communist ideas, which is shown by the symbols to the left. The expansion of Soviet influence was feared by the United States, which caused them to want to contain communism. However, they didn't participate in direct warfare. They attacked each other through political strategies like propaganda, which helped strike fear within their countries, which can be seen by the picture to the right. This was mainly because if there was direct fighting, it would have resulted in a nuclear war, which neither country was willing to face, especially since World War II had just ended. As the Cold War continues, it will divide the globe into populations who either support Soviet Union or America.
Hi, I'm Jaden, and I'll be talking about the war conferences at Yalta and Potsdam about post-war settlements. At Yalta, Roosevelt was able to convince Stalin to help him fight against the Japanese, and after the war, tensions for post-war settlements intensified as the US and Soviet Union were ready to seize the opportunity to gain capitalist or communist allies. And then at the Potsdam conference, they tried to persuade Stalin to give Poland a democracy. But in the end, the Soviets destroyed non-communist political parties and blocked free elections. They ended up installing a communist government at Poland and everywhere else in Eastern Europe. For my pictures, on the left is a picture of the man on Adventure Capitalist who represents capitalism from the US, and then on the right is a symbol for communism of the Soviet Union.
I'm Jake, and I will be talking about post-war territorial divisions. After the war, the territories and possessions of the Axis powers were divided amongst the Allies, showing a split between the United States and the Soviet Union. In Germany, the country was split into two, with the Soviet Union occupying East Germany and the rest of the Allies in the West. The capital city of Berlin was occupied by all four Allies. With Eastern Europe being controlled by the Soviet Union, Winston Churchill declared an Iron Curtain had fallen on Europe, depicted in the top picture. In Asia, Japan was occupied by the United States, while Korea was split along the 38th parallel, with the Soviets occupying the north and the United States occupying the south, shown by the bottom right picture. The bottom left picture shows territories of the Soviet Union and NATO after World War II.
Hi, I'm Samantha, and I'll be talking to you about the Truman Doctrine. So, as communist movements seem to threaten democracy and U.S. strategic interests in Turkey and Greece, Harry S. Truman created the Truman Doctrine in March of 1947 in order to contain the spread of communism. Specifically, Great Britain announced they couldn't support Mediterranean countries anymore, which led to them becoming afraid they would fall under the Soviet Union. Thus, Truman had to basically get involved. This meant that the U.S. would provide military and financial aid to Greece and Turkey so that they would not get taken over by the Soviet Union. And this was ultimately seen as a declaration of the Cold War by the communists, and also cleared up the U.S. perception of the division between free and enslaved peoples. The picture at the top represents the containment of communism. The picture below it represents a financial and military aid to Greece and Turkey. And then the picture to the right is just a picture of Harry S. Truman.